Assalamu alaikum. Some people leave your life, but not your heart. Their name still echoes in your prayers. Their memory visits you when you're alone. No matter how much time passes, something inside you still feels connected. Have you ever tried to forget someone, but your heart just won't let go? Even after months or years, their name still lives in your thoughts. You wonder, why can't I move on? Why does my soul still feel attached to them? Today, I want to take you deep into the hidden wisdom of Islam, because sometimes what feels like pain is actually a message from Allah. Stay until the end. The final lesson might bring you peace in a way you never imagined. 1. Your heart loved deeply, and that is not a sin. Your heart loved deeply, and that is not a sin. In Islam, the heart is a special part of you. It doesn't just keep you alive, it's where your faith, your love, your emotions live. Allah created your heart with the ability to feel deeply, to connect, and to care. So when you still feel something for someone, even after they're gone, it doesn't always mean you're weak or stuck. It can simply mean that your love was sincere. You cared with honesty. You gave from your heart. And that kind of love, when done with clean intentions, is not something to be ashamed of. It's something that shows your soul is alive and pure. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "He who loves for Allah and hates for Allah and gives for Allah and withholds for Allah has perfected his faith." This means that love, when it is connected to your faith, when it is respectful, honest, and free from sin, becomes a part of your connection to Allah. If you loved someone in a way that was within the boundaries of Islam, with dignity, with care, and with the hope of marriage or something halal, then your heart was in the right place. Even if things didn't work out, that feeling was still real. And real feelings don't just disappear overnight. So don't blame yourself for remembering them. Don't feel guilty for the emotions you still carry. Your heart isn't broken. It's just showing that you once loved with truth. And Allah sees that. He knows the purity of your intentions. What matters now is what you do with that feeling. Whether it becomes a lesson, a prayer, or a path to something better, your sincere love will never go to waste in the eyes of Allah. 2. Allah doesn't waste your emotions. Allah doesn't waste your emotions. Every tear, every silent prayer, every ache in your heart, none of it is meaningless. Even the pain you feel when you miss someone, or when your heart holds on longer than you want it to, it all has a purpose in the sight of Allah. Sometimes we think our emotions are just reactions to what happened, but in reality, they are part of a bigger test. A test of faith, a test of patience, a test of letting go. In the Quran, in Surah Al-Ankabut, Allah asks, "Do people think they will be left alone after saying, 'We believe,' without being tested?" This verse reminds us that believing in Allah doesn't mean life will always feel easy. In fact, true belief is often proven through our struggles, especially the ones that take place inside the heart. When you still feel attached to someone, even after things have ended, it could be because Allah is testing your trust in Him. He wants to see if you can place your heart fully in His hands. Can you trust that His plan is better than what you wanted? Can you give up what you loved for the sake of the one who gave you the ability to love in the first place? It's not that your feelings are ignored. Allah sees them. He knows how deeply you care. But He also knows what lies ahead, what could harm you, and what could bring you closer to Him. So when your soul clings to something or someone, ask yourself, Are you holding on because it's right, or because it's hard to let go? And then, remember, letting go for the sake of Allah is not a loss. It is a form of worship. It's an act of trust that can raise you spiritually and bring you closer to peace. The pain isn't pointless. It's part of your journey to become stronger, wiser, and more connected to your Creator. And Allah never wastes the pain of someone who turns to Him. 3. You attach to the hope, not just the person. Sometimes you think you're holding on to a person, but you're actually holding on to the hope they gave you. It may feel like you miss them, their voice, their presence, the way they made you feel, but deep inside, what you truly miss is what they represented in your life. They made you feel seen. They gave you something to look forward to. In your mind, they became a symbol of a peaceful future. Marriage, stability, love, companionship. They became the one you imagined praying beside, building a life with, raising a family with. And when that person leaves or things don't work out, it feels like all those dreams were taken with them. But here's the truth that many people miss. You're not just grieving a person. You're grieving the idea of a future that you built in your mind. That imagined life became real in your heart. And that's what hurts, the collapse of a world that never fully existed, but meant everything to you. Islam teaches us about tawakkul, which means placing your full trust in Allah. True peace doesn't come from knowing your future with someone. It comes from trusting that Allah knows the future, and that His plan will always be better than yours. Even when it feels like things are falling apart, they might actually be falling into place. Sometimes Allah removes people not to hurt you, but to remove your dependence on them. Maybe you were beginning to rely on them for comfort, for security, for identity. But those things were never meant to come from a person. They were always meant to come from Allah. That's why the pain stays, because somewhere inside you're still hoping that this person will return and fix everything. You want them to complete the story you wrote in your mind. But what if Allah is trying to show you that only He can write a story that brings real peace to your heart? Letting go isn't about erasing memories. It's about separating reality from expectations. It's about reminding yourself that your hope should never be tied to a human being, because people change, people leave, people disappoint. But Allah never does. If you trusted that this person would bring you joy, imagine the joy Allah has saved for you when you trust Him even more. If you believed they would bring you peace, imagine the peace that waits for you when you surrender your heart back to the one who created it. So ask yourself gently and with honesty, was it them you were attached to, or the hope they carried? When you shift that hope from people to Allah, you'll see the pain begin to soften. Not because everything is suddenly fixed, but because now your heart is resting in the only place it was ever meant to be, in the hands of the one who never lets go. 4. Your soul still has an open door. Your soul still has an open door. Even when your lips say, "I've moved on," your heart may still be holding on quietly. In Islam, closure doesn't come from a final message, a blocked number, or time passing. True closure comes when the heart fully accepts that Allah has chosen a different path and trusts that His plan is better than our desires. Sometimes you think you've let go because the communication has stopped. You no longer talk to that person. You don't see them anymore. Maybe you even deleted photos, unfollowed them, and made dua to move forward. But if you're still secretly wondering whether they think about you, still hoping for their return, still checking if they viewed your story or liked a post, then the door inside your heart is not fully closed. It's okay. This is part of being human. Hearts don't work like switches. They take time. They process slowly. And sometimes they pretend to be over someone while still waiting quietly in the background. But here's the reality. As long as that door is open, even just a little, you're not allowing space for something new, something better that Allah may want to send your way. You're stuck between the past and the future. You're looking back while trying to move forward, and that's why your soul feels tired. It's waiting for a final release, not from the person, but from your own hopes about them. Ask yourself this question honestly. If Allah were to send someone today, someone who is better for my deen, my peace and my future, would I truly welcome that gift? If even a part of you answers, no, I'm still waiting for the one I lost, then your soul hasn't let go yet. Letting go doesn't mean the memories disappear. It means you're no longer tied to the outcome. It means you're no longer saying, it must be this person, but instead saying, I trust whoever Allah chooses for me. And once you close that door with peace, not bitterness, you'll notice a shift. Your du'as become lighter. Your heart feels calmer. You stop waiting for something that may never return and start preparing for something that was always meant to come. The past had its purpose. It taught you. It shaped you. But if it was truly written for you, it would still be with you. And if it's not, then Allah is guiding you to something greater, but only after you close the door and fully open your heart to Him. 5. You were spiritually bonded. You were spiritually bonded. And that's not something small. Some connections go beyond smiles, conversations, or even time spent together. They go deeper, into the soul. There are moments when you meet someone and the connection feels different. You might have made dua together. You may have shared personal Islamic goals, dreams of building a marriage based on deen, hopes of praying side by side or fasting together in Ramadan. Your bond wasn't just emotional or romantic. It felt spiritual. It felt like Allah was in the middle of that connection, blessing every moment. And that's what makes it harder to let go. It's easier to move on from someone when the connection was only surface level. But when the attachment feels like it touched your soul, when it included your faith, your intentions, your dreams for halal love, it feels like a piece of you is still holding on. That's why, even after everything ends, the feeling doesn't fade quickly. Your heart still remembers the purity of that connection. It still whispers what ifs. It still hopes that something that felt so spiritual must be from Allah. But here's what Islam reminds us. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The hearts are between two fingers of the Most Merciful. He turns them as He wills." Sahih Muslim. This means that even the deepest spiritual feelings, even the most sincere connections, are still under the control of Allah. He can bring hearts together, and He can also turn them away. Not because you did something wrong, not because your bond was fake, but because Allah knows what's best for both souls, even when they don't know it themselves. It's possible that Allah brought that person into your life to awaken something in your soul, to teach you love, patience, dua, or what a spiritual connection really feels like. Maybe it was never meant to last forever. Maybe it was only meant to guide you to a better version of yourself. Spiritual bonds are powerful, but they are not always permanent. And if that person is no longer in your life, if the connection faded even though it once felt so real, then understand this. It's not a punishment. It's a redirection from the one who created both of your hearts. It means Allah is guiding you to something different, maybe a deeper connection, maybe a more balanced relationship, maybe someone whose heart is better aligned with yours in the journey of faith. So don't think that your spiritual bond was wasted. It served its purpose. It taught you how beautiful faith-filled love can be. And now, Allah is preparing you for something even greater, but only if you trust Him to turn your heart toward what is written for you. When a soul bond ends, it leaves a space inside. But that space can be filled again with something more peaceful, more steady, more lasting, if you let Allah choose. 6. You're being prepared for something greater. You're being prepared for something greater. You might not see it right now. All you can feel is the ache, that quiet heaviness in your chest that doesn't seem to go away. Your mind says, move on, but your soul feels stuck, as if it's still holding a piece of the past. You wonder why the pain keeps returning, why memories still visit, why your heart won't let go completely. But the soul doesn't feel pain for no reason. Pain in Islam is never wasted. Pain is often the beginning of transformation. Sometimes you're not feeling this way because you're weak or broken. You're feeling this way because you're healing. Your heart has been through something important. It has tasted love, loss, hope, and maybe even heartbreak. But it is still alive. It is still open. And Allah, the most merciful, never leaves a heart in pain without purpose. When Allah removes someone from your life, someone you once deeply cared for, it's easy to think you've been punished. You may even ask yourself, was I not good enough? Or did I love too much? But you must remember, Allah never takes without the intention to replace. Not always with a person. Sometimes He replaces them with a lesson, a strength, a closeness to Him that you never knew you needed. This emotional attachment you still feel, it's not because you're going backwards. It might be because you're in the middle of being rebuilt. When you clean a wound, it stings. But that pain is part of the healing. And when Allah wants to give you something better, He often prepares you first. By polishing your heart, removing past attachments, and making space for what's written. Sometimes we want what we lost back so badly that we forget to open our hands to what Allah wants to give us next. But Allah, in His wisdom, sees what we cannot see. He knows that some people, no matter how much we love them, are not meant to stay. They may be part of our story, but not our ending. And letting them go isn't rejection, it's redirection towards something greater. Look back at your own life. Think of the people who left. At first it hurt. Maybe you cried for nights. Maybe you thought you'd never smile again. But did you not heal? Did you not eventually laugh again? Did you not learn something valuable about yourself, your strength, and your relationship with Allah? This is the same. What you feel right now is a test, but it's also a transition. You are walking through a doorway. And yes, the doorway may feel dark, but what's on the other side could be light beyond what you ever imagined. A love that is cleaner, a bond that is stronger, a relationship that brings you closer to Jannah. But before that kind of love arrives, your heart must be ready to hold it. It must be cleaned of attachments that are rooted in expectation or fantasy. It must be filled with contentment in Allah's timing, and it must trust that what is written for you will never miss you. So if you feel like you're stuck in the middle, not fully moved on, not fully healed, know that you are exactly where Allah wants you to be, in between what you lost and what He is preparing for you, in between heartbreak and peace. in between the ending of one chapter and the opening of another. Allah is not delaying to hurt you. He is perfecting the next gift. Let the pain polish you. Let the loneliness bring you closer to Him. Let the empty space in your heart become a space that Allah fills with something more beautiful than you prayed for. Something you'll look back on and say, "Now I understand why it didn't work out before. This was worth the wait." You are not being punished. You are being prepared for something greater, for something written, for something that will feel like coming home, not just to a person, but to Allah's plan. 7. Allah is waiting for you to hand it over. There comes a time in every journey when the soul gets tired. Tired of waiting, tired of wondering, tired of holding on to something it no longer understands. It hurts, not because you are weak, but because what you carried was real. It mattered to you. It became a part of your daily thoughts, your nightly du'as, your future dreams. You didn't just imagine a person, you imagined a life, a future with peace, love, faith, and connection. You may have believed with all your heart that this person was the one, that they were your answer, that they were your gift from Allah. But now, they're gone. Or maybe they're still near, but distant. Maybe they haven't left your life completely, but you feel like they've already left your heart confused. And here you are, stuck between holding on and letting go. Your soul feels heavy, not because you're alone, but because you're trying to carry the pain alone. You haven't handed it over yet. You're still gripping it with both hands, hoping that somehow things will fix themselves, that maybe the story will turn around, that maybe if you just wait longer, pray harder, or hurt quietly enough, Allah will return what you lost. But what if this moment, this sadness, this quiet ache, is Allah inviting you to release it? Not to give up, but to give it to Him. Because the truth is, your soul still feels attached, not just because of the love, but because you haven't surrendered the pain to the one who created your soul. You're holding on to a burden that Allah never asked you to carry alone. He says in the Quran, "Call upon me, and I will respond to you." Surah Ghafir 40:60. He did not say, "Carry your heartbreak and fix it by yourself." He did not say, "Cry silently and never let me in." He did not say, "Struggle in your chest and pretend you're fine." He said, "Call upon me, talk to me, let me in." Because when you place your heart in Allah's hands, it is never lost. It may break, yes, but every broken piece that returns to Him becomes a seed for something more beautiful. Maybe Allah is not asking you to stop feeling. Maybe He's just asking you to stop carrying the burden alone, to stop forcing something that He never wrote for you, to stop chasing something that was only meant to pass through your life, not stay in it. Yes, you loved. Yes, you prayed. Yes, you hoped. And all of that was seen by Allah. He witnessed every tear. He heard every dua you made under your breath. He counted the silent nights you stayed up asking, "Ya Allah, if this is good for me, then bring them closer." And now, here you are. The situation has changed. The signs are unclear. Your heart feels torn between faith and fear. But still, Allah waits. He waits for your surrender. Not your pain, not your misery, but your trust. He waits for the moment you say, "Ya Allah, I can't carry this anymore. If this person is written for me, then bring them into my life in the most beautiful, halal way." But if they are not meant for me, remove this longing from my heart and replace it with peace that comes only from you. This is not a formula. This is not just a beautiful prayer to repeat like a poem. This is a conversation between a heart that is tired and the Lord who heals tired hearts. Say it not from your lips, but from your soul. Say it while crying. Say it while confused. Say it while still holding on, and then slowly begin to loosen your grip. Because the moment you truly hand it over to Allah, the moment you let go of needing to know what happens next, that is the moment He begins to replace. Replace confusion with clarity. Replace pain with peace. Replace anxiety with trust. And eventually, replace the empty space with something far better than what you once begged for. Allah never removes without purpose. He never delays without wisdom. And He never forgets a servant who comes to Him with a broken heart. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Verily Allah is shy and generous. He is shy when His servant raises his hands to Him to return them empty." Tirmidhi. Your hands will not return empty. Your dua will not be wasted. Your heartbreak will not last forever. But the healing begins not when you distract yourself, not when you scroll endlessly, trying to forget, not when you bottle it all up and smile like nothing happened. It begins when you say, "Ya Allah, I give this to you now. I give you the pain, the love, the memories, the longing. I give it all to you. Replace it with what is better." And then you wait, not in fear, not in desperation, but in quiet trust, in surrender, in peace. Because when you truly let Allah choose for you, you will never lose. He sees the things you cannot see. He knows the hearts of people in ways you never will. He knows what would break you and what will build you. And He knows what is written and what is better left unwritten. You've cried long enough. You've carried it far enough. You've tried everything. Now try surrender. Because when your soul finally says, "I trust you, Allah," that is the moment the healing truly begins. And what is coming, if written for you, will find you, not when you chase it, but when you let it go and let it return if it's meant. Because what is meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant. Hand it over and rest. Allah is waiting. My dear brother, my dear sister, maybe your soul has walked through the same pain we spoke about today. Maybe you've loved and lost. Maybe you're still healing. Or maybe you're still holding on. Whatever part of the journey you're on, know this: Allah sees you. He hears what you can't say out loud. And He understands every silent ache your heart carries. So now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt this kind of soul attachment before? Did you ever struggle to let go of someone you believed was meant for you? And when you finally turned to Allah, did He teach you something that changed your heart forever? If you're comfortable, share your story in the comments, because maybe your experience, your healing, your words will be the exact light someone else needs today. And if this message touched your heart, even in the smallest way, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, so you never miss another reminder meant just for you. This channel isn't just about content, it's about healing. It's about bringing your heart closer to Allah, especially in the moments when it feels the furthest. May Allah bring deep, lasting peace to your heart. May He replace your pain with something better, and may He guide you to the person, the path, and the purpose that was always written just for you. Ameen.